I grew up in a small town in Greene County, Pennsylvania. And if you look at the Pennsylvania map, you'll see that Greene County is in the far southwestern corner of the state. In fact, so far in the southwestern corner that two of its boundaries are with West Virginia. So I grew up in that county my whole life until I went away to college. And even though we sometimes tried to say we were from the Pittsburgh area, we really were from modified West Virginia. So I grew up in a particular culture that I just looked at as completely normal and didn't think anything about until later on when I did go to college. I found out that I was from Appalachia and that I was studying it in sociology class and saying, yeah, that's not unusual what these people are doing. What's wrong with that? But in any event, that's how I grew up. And you don't find out a lot about yourself, you don't gain a lot of self-knowledge until you go away and you're put among people who didn't grow up in that environment, and all of a sudden you find out that maybe everything you thought is not standard. So for me, that first experience was between 8th and 9th grade. I went to basketball camp at a small college in Virginia. And when I went there, I was really looking forward to basketball camp. I was a serious, I thought I was a serious athlete. And I wanted to do well, and I wanted to, be a star at the basketball camp and everything. So when I got there, they assigned me to a certain floor of a dormitory. And we, all of us were gathered together, and we met the guy who was going to be our counselor for the week. And his name, never forget him, his name was Bill Dabney. And Bill was a college player at that small college. And believe me, he took his job as a camp counselor very seriously. He pointed out to us with great emphasis that he had rules, and we were going to follow those rules, or else we were going to have to answer to him, and we wouldn't like what some of the consequences might be if we broke those rules. So I was sitting there, I was eating this up, and I was like, yes, Bill, I'm going to be your star counselee or whatever. So one of the rules that he did have a lot of rules, and he went through them. And I tried to remember how I was supposed to tie my sneakers and how I was supposed to roll my socks and everything else. But one rule that I recall he mentioned was when we went to the cafeteria, and went through the line at the cafeteria, there was a strict rule that you could only take one dessert. Do not try to take extra desserts. We've had guys try to do that before, and you ask them if they enjoyed what I put them through. So I was, no way I'm getting an extra dessert. I'm all with you, Bill. So, of course, it rolls around. The first day, we're going over to the cafeteria for lunch, and I get in line, and I'm going through, and I get my salad, and I got an entree, and I looked over the desserts, and I picked out a piece of coconut cream pie, and I thought, I'm well within the rules. I'm going to go enjoy my lunch. I sat down at the cafeteria table, and I wasn't there for 30 seconds, and in my face was Bill Dabney. And Bill is like, Reed, do you not know how to listen? Didn't you hear me give the rules? One dessert. I looked at my little piece of coconut cream pie and I said, that's my dessert. He said, what about this? And he's pointing to my salad, my Jell-O salad, which in my hometown and in my culture, that was salad. It was cherry Jell-O with fruit cocktail floating in it. And maybe it had a piece of lettuce under it even, I'm not sure, but it definitely, in my mind, was salad. So he's pointing at that and he said, that's Jell-O, that's a dessert. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say because I definitely didn't want to debate Bill, but I certainly felt to the core of my being that Jell-O was salad, and I had been raised that way, and I wish that I would have stood up to him and defended it, because I think, maybe I had a point. But from then on, I just made sure no Jell-O this week. I'm going to spend a week without Jell-O. And that's what I did. So who knew that, you would get a new definition of salad by going to basketball camp?